and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. As the weather outside gets frosty, we take this opportunity to sink into a nice warm bath and remember all the great games we've played on PC this year. It's been such a busy 12 months, so we've had to limit each member of the Rock Paper Shotgun video department, that's myself, Matthew, Alice and Astrid, to just 4 games each, and a bunch of highly recommended picks right at the end. These games aren't in any particular order, they are just games we personally adored. Hopefully you'd have a good time with any of them. Also a very quick plug for Displate, whose metal posters feature designs from many of these games, and you can visit our store in the description for some of the best. And why not share your top 10 PC games of 2019 in the comments? We'd also love it if you subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun, because if you do subscribe, we'll share a nice toasted marshmallow with you. And if you don't subscribe, you will be the toasted marshmallow. Now, onwards! If you had told me that the first game I played in 2019 would end up being one of the best games of the year, I would have said you were pulling my leg, or shooting off my leg, and then the other leg, and then my arm, and then my head. Yes, it's Resident Evil 2, which spoke to my inner 13-year-old with its total disregard for limbs, and then scared the living piss out of my outer 34-year-old with the slow stomping horror of Mr. X. Okay, so the creepy giant in the Flashomac is slightly diminished when you discover his weakness to sofas, but for the most part this was a relentless chase down memory lane. Aside from the stunning visual makeover, this remake's smartest move was to give Raccoon City a memory. Zombies can be knocked down easily enough, but remain a threat on future trips, forcing you to weigh up every journey and pray to land a headshot with every bullet. Or you could just force them onto this new grenade diet that health blocks have been talking about. You just pop one in the mouth and lose half your body fat in a second. What the? If 2020's Resident Evil 3 remake is half as good as this, we are in for a treat.
Rats, kids, and the Inquisition. I wasn't expecting to love a game about all of these things as much as I did. I mean, I like rats in real life, but then rats in real life don't tend to do stuff like this. To be fair to Plague Tale's rattos, they're not actively evil, just very enthusiastic about eating. A habit you can put to good use as you use them as a weapon against the Inquisition. Using light and shadow to shepherd rats towards these religious meat mountains is one of 2019's gooeyest treats. Alright, sometimes they were plain bad, and would eat either our hero Amicia, her small brother Hugo, or any of their ragtag allies they meet along their journey, from the ground up. Feet first. Imagine that death, that pain. Yeesh. I expect my boss Matthew will also ask me to reference that disgusting bit where the rats all burst and bleed out of that dead horse, so here you go. I hope you aren't watching this after Christmas dinner. I won't lie to you, I'm not a big fan of kids, and I especially dislike escort missions with annoying children in. So imagine my surprise when I ended up loving a game that is 80% escort mission. Hugo is a little cutie really, and he should be protected at all costs. So I'm glad I did my best for him, even if he did get eaten from the ground up a few times.
Control is as strange as it is gorgeous. As Jesse Faden, the newly declared director of the Federal Bureau of Control, you're clearing out the Hiss, an otherworldly force that has come to our planet to glue middle management to the ceiling. Really, it's just an excuse to explore the shifting, brutalist hallways of the oldest house, where you find visually breathtaking and spatially incomprehensible sights, like the hotline chamber suspended in an ominous sphere like Cerebro in the X-Men, the endless stretching void of the fire breaks between the oldest house sectors, and the inverted black pyramid of the board that forever looms over you in the isolating white expanse of the astral plane. Everything in Control feels like an uncomfortable and abstract dream. The people you meet are as distant as they are aware. Rooms and hallways will shift and distort when you're not looking, and the monotone colour palette of the oldest house becomes drenched in thick bellows of stark blue and red light in places where the hiss has taken hold.
Hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier.
The game itself is a relatively standard third-person shooter with some cool powers thrown in, like telekinesis, which tears chunks of concrete out of the architecture that you use as deadly projectiles, and a lightning-fast dash to dodge enemy attacks and clear large distances. It's a stunning blend of cosmic mystery and extreme violence against office furniture, and if you enjoy games that tell you more about their worlds with their environments than with their words, then you'll love this.
My next pick is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, or as I like to call it, Sekiro Shadows Die 856 times. Much more than Dark Souls in a ninja outfit, From Software's trip to feudal Japan strips away a lot of the RPG meat to focus the action on the precise moment that sword meets sword. It's an absolutely ferocious combat system built around breaking your enemy's posture with quick chops and even quicker parries. Yes, you can use your ninja skills to grapple away to safety or even start with a stealth blow to gain the advantage, but at the end of the day there's no escaping the fact that the game's nastiest horrors need to be taken face on and close up if you're going to stagger them and then pop their arteries like a bottle of bloody champagne. It's also deserving of a special mention on PC for its beautiful optimization, giving slick performance on even more modest machines, which, given Dark Souls' shaky track record on PC, is a step in the right direction. Oh, and two extra special shoutouts. One to the screaming hang glider guy for this year's best gaming entrance, and another to the giant chickens for being the only enemy in Sekiro that didn't humiliate me again and again and again. Of course, if you prefer your animals live and kicking, Alice's next game pick might be more up your alley.
I love animals. That won't surprise our regular viewers, but if it does, I love animals. And I love Planet Coaster, so Planet Zoo has been on my radar since it was announced, and it didn't disappoint. Sure, I have a tiny problem of inbreeding red pandas, but if your species was going extinct, you'd be less picking on dating apps too. Aside from that, I'm doing okay. My zoo is even home to an albino zebra. As amazing as it is to see the animals stroll around, make friends and have babies, I mostly keep my game paused if I'm being totally honest. I prefer building and making my enclosures the best they can be. Unpausing is stressful. I like learning about the animals, and I think the vast expanse of knowledge and love that's gone into this game is absolutely phenomenal. Just like Planet Coaster before it, there's clear expert knowledge in every inch of this game, and better yet, it shares it with you. Planet Zoo encourages you to learn, helps you understand things about animals you probably never would have learned. But the worst bit of it all is, it encourages you to get rid of your animals, for conservation's sake. I suppose it would also solve my inbreeding problems, but they are just so cute.
Metro Exodus removes you from the claustrophobic and oppressive series mainstay of the Moscow metro system and plonks you on a great big sodding steam train as you chug it across the Eastern European wasteland through the frosty swamplands of the Volga, the sandy craters of the now dry Caspian Sea, and the forested communist summer camp of the Taiga. But it never loses a feeling of desperation, or a sense of dread, or even that familiar claustrophobia that the previous games are best known for. It just supplements that all with an overarching current of hope. Metro Exodus is dire at many times throughout its duration. It shows you, through the faces you meet as you journey on the railways across the wastes, that people can still be monsters. At times, it's still able to plunge you into suffocating bunkers and corridors, and even make use of the vast spaces of its open-world areas to make you feel isolated. It also somehow manages to incorporate survival mechanics in a way that doesn't make it f***ing unbearable, which it gets major kudos for. Oh, and it has a sniper rifle so meaty that shots I took back in March are still reverberating now. Delicious.
Outer Wilds is one of the best adventures I've ever had. Technically, it's one of the shortest. No sooner have you taken off and the universe decides to explode. But a handy 20-minute time loop gives you a chance to try and fix things by dashing around the solar system, harvesting information that will hopefully help you in the next life. I like to describe it as a Metroidvania, but instead of collecting upgrades to get further, you're collecting facts. These might be clues about where to head next, or local gossip about how to survive giant nightmare fish, or a world that's 99% hurricane. In time, you get to know this cluster of planets in intimate detail, things like where you need to be at what time to achieve a certain outcome, or how ancient alien tech can be turned to your advantage to finally pull ahead of your sticky fate. But as smart as it is, it also never forgets the importance of simple wonder, of planets slowly being gobbled up by black holes, or deserts sucked from one planet to the next by gravitational pull, or the magic of a haunting melody heard across the depths of space. This isn't just a world you get to know inside out, it's a world you'll want to know inside out. It's not just my personal game of the year, but one of the greatest of any years.
Disco Elysium is a game about an alcoholic cop picking up the pieces of his shattered psyche, apologising to those he's wronged as he trudges along, all while trying to solve a murder. Or it's about a detective with a radical socialist view of the world that perhaps contradicts his profession, trying to find out how a man died while spreading the word of the late communist philosopher Krasnozov. Or it's the tale of a drug-binging superstar with disco trousers on a quest to find the perfect karaoke ballad. Perhaps developer Zaun put it best. In many ways, Disco Elysium is a personality test. Disco Elysium is introspective to the max. Its world, ravaged by a failed revolution and barely held together by gaffer tape made of violence and narcotics, is awe-inspiring, but some of the most fascinating parts of the game are the conversations you have with your skills inside your own head. It's dark, funny, existential, and it has a wealth of things to say about the human condition and about the world. You can also stuff the 3-day-old corpse into a giant freezer that looks like an evil polar bear and spin kick a racist, if all that didn't already convince you to give it a go.
Tangle Tower. No idea why they insist on calling it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
I was not expecting a game like Tangle Tower to make it into my top 5 games of the year. I haven't played many point-and-click adventures, and I don't gravitate towards detective games. To be honest, Astrid and Matthew have mentioned a few of my other favourites, like Control and The Outer Wilds, but Tangle Tower was such a pleasant surprise I had to include it. Everything about it is charming. Detective Grimoire and his sidekick Sally deliver entertaining bickering that's incredibly well voiced. In fact, for a small indie team, the production values, the art, the music, and animation is amazing throughout. Unravelling a murder mystery is fun too, as the game blends the deduction of a whodunit with more hands-on puzzles that you might expect from the Professor Layton game. The way you build accusations as sentences is such a good way of getting us to think like detectives. Tangle Tower really felt quite like a comfortable place to be in after a while, if you ignore all the murder and death and shady alibis. I'm now going to have to go back through the SFB catalogue and do some catching up with Grimoire.
I nor any other human being on the planet knows what it's like to be inside the head of a gorilla, but if I'd hazard a guess, then I think my grabby, smashy, galumphing existence probably would be accompanied by a procedurally generated free jazz drum solo soundtrack. Ape Out has been compared quite a bit to Hotline Miami. It's got a top-down perspective, twin-stick controls, fast-paced and violent room clearing, and quite a simple but striking art style. In a lot of ways, that balls-to-the-wall, ultra-violent speedrunning is here too, but Ape Out is even simpler than that, with stark primary colours, very basic environments, and only 4 controller inputs: move, aim, grab, and yeet. It's simplicity with a purpose, though. Two, in fact. The first being that it makes the game immediately quite easy to grasp for those who have only feverishly sampled twin-stick games, and the second being that it ensures the genuinely quite brilliant simulated jazz drummers' reactionary and freestyle beats are at the forefront of the experience, as the vinyl album presentation suggests it should be. Ape Out would still be bloody buckets full of fun without this music, but with it the game becomes something truly special.
Red Dead Redemption 2 takes the awkward honour of being one of my favourite games of the year and one of my least favourite game launches of the year. What a shame to see this incredible landscape gated behind a launcher that did anything but launch the game, and an online mode where you are more likely to be robbed by a server hiccup than another player. Look past that though, and this is a trip to a virtual Westworld, a playground that lets you enjoy violent delights, but is also happy for you to observe everyday life. Pat a dog, feed a horse a carrot, make snow angels in the mud using corpses on a rope, or just enjoy the warm glow of a campfire. Sorry, I really can't get enough of that clip. As a huge fan of Western movies, I love the feeling of trying to create my own adventure and seeing how far I get. Hopping on a train, plugging the driver, going for a joyride, and then getting rid of any unwanted passengers on the roof. For me, this will always be better than the scripted missions, and is sure to keep me playing well into 2020. Well, as long as I avoid any more barbecue disasters.
What do you mean The Sims 4 doesn't go on this list? It bloody well does. I play The Sims 4 more than any other game year on year. I go through phases of loving it dearly to absolutely not being able to look at it for a few months. And yes, The Sims 4 may have come out 5 years ago now, but there have been some amazing developments this year. For example, we finally got our university expansion. Yeah, okay, The Sims 2 University expansion was its first expansion, but Discover University is only The Sims 4's 8th expansion. So, it was highly anticipated, let's put it that way. And it hasn't disappointed. Between that, Strangerville, Realm of Magic and Island Living, we've been pretty spoiled for choice with this year's expansion and game packs. And the really not highly anticipated Moschino stuff pack wasn't even that disappointing. It has some really amazing windows. Nice one, The Sims 4. Over the years, I've become more of a builder, so the recent updates of being able to put in twisty staircases and using loads of previously inaccessible set design have been absolutely chef-kiss this year. Mwah! The builds you can make are out of this world, and thanks to Discover University, we can now have NPC roommates, which means building terraced houses is finally a thing that can happen. But really, nothing beats the highlight that is Caster's Alley, and the whole of the Magic Realm, to be honest.
Don't underestimate me.
Of course, these were only a fraction of the awesome games we played this year, so here's a lightning-fast rundown of other gems we also enjoyed. Inspired by cult favourite Valkyrie Profile, Indivisible is part brawler, part turn-based RPG. It's all about unleashing moves to combo enemies into oblivion, but the huge range of characters and movesets available gives you so much room for experimentation. It's a real treat. Blasphemous is Castlevania with severe Catholic guilt, as a man with a hat full of blood chops and climbs through a nightmare landscape where he's attacked by some of the freakiest bosses we've seen in years, and a giant incense burner. It's gory, it's gooey, it's great. Flotsam is Waterworld, the management game, and has been keeping Alice busy in its early access form. The world is wet, and it's up to you to rebuild society from the trash you pluck from the ocean. Good to get in some early practice before it happens to us for real. Devil May Cry 5 is the only game that let me ride my own rocket arm as a surfboard, which should really put it at the top of my Game of the Year list. Man alive, this was such a cool game, whether mastering the sublime combat styles of Dante or just mashing demons into paste with my giant shadow pets. An indie passion project, Horace looks like a 16-bit throwback, but throbs with modern ideas as a lonely robot embarks on a trash-collecting adventure that is full of retro minigames, some brutal platforming challenges, and one of the year's best soundtracks. Gears 5 was another big surprise this year, a really inventive campaign that found constant new twists on hiding behind waist-high cover as you explored deserts and ice fields and gave your robot pal instructions to fry anyone who came close. It's absolutely gorgeous too. In They Came From a Communist Planet, you play as a citizen incited to revolution by socialist aliens and work on bringing down your oppressors one bit of graffiti at a time. Our resident revolutionary Astrid absolutely loves it, and even I, resident centrist dad, admit to tapping my toe to its banging soundtrack. And those are just some of the games we've loved in 2019. Thanks for sticking with the list all the way to the end. As a little bonus for your patience, here's a bonus video of my dumb cat trying to rub its head on my hand through glass. If you enjoyed this video, the Game of the Year list, not the cat, you can support the channel through our Displate store. Please do use the link to check out our personal picks. There's over 500,000 designs, and Displate's unique metal posters are built to last and use a magnet mounting system that doesn't involve drilling into your walls with power tools, which is always good. And not only will you be supporting the channel, but you'll be supporting the environment. For every Displate sold, a tree gets planted. Finally, I'd love to hear your top games of 2019 in the comments. Go on, give us your lists of top 5 or top 10. Then we can see how much you all disagree with us. It'll be fun. I really hope you'll join us in 2020 to watch more wonderful PC games. We've been having loads of fun on channel in 2019, and we'd really love for you to subscribe and join us for more. So I'll hopefully see you soon, and I'll say bye for now.